recording with the one and only Mr. Steve Kirsch, who has graciously come on my show yet again, and Dr. McCullough, who will be coming. He is in a traffic jam, and either that or he just doesn't want to talk to us. But I think it's a traffic jam. I trust it's a traffic jam, and because Dr. McCullough prefers clean language, as always, we will be clean. But he's gone right now, so we can say whatever the fuck we want, and we can let all the emotions out now. So, Mr. Kirsch, for all the new listeners, if by any chance someone doesn't know who you are, could you please introduce yourself, and then we can jump on into this thing?
Yeah, sure. I'm a former high-tech executive, and I was doubly vaxxed because the CDC said it was safe and effective. And I started hearing horror stories from my friends about a month after I got the vaccine. And I started looking into why I was seeing all these black swans all of a sudden, and then discovered that the data was showing that these vaccines are the most dangerous vaccines of all time. So I quit my job, started a Substack because I got kicked off of Twitter for spreading misinformation. And so now if you type in misinformation super spreader into Google, I'm the top hit.
That's such an honor, man. Yeah, I love how if you Google your
It's
name,
nice to be good at something.
hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know what are my street creds? I got permanently banned from YouTube. I'm IP banned from Reddit, and I'm not allowed on iTunes. And I'm only recently back on Twitter. I take those as trophies. You know, some people they might say buzzwords like you're an enemy of the state or something, but you know, whatever. I like it. But
Yeah.
if you do Google Mr. Kirsch's name, it is funny how not your, incredible achievements with search engines or spam filters or the optical mouse, but instead it's that you're a vaccine super spreader about misinformation.
Yeah, I'm still number one.
Yeah.
You know, chat GPT was up there and it kicked me lower for a small amount of time, but I managed to reclaim my spot at the top.
Well, hey man, perseverance is what this game's about.
Yeah. And you know what? I got these calls from these reputation companies saying, hey, we can fix your reputation. And I'm like, look, this is look, I'm the best in the world at something, and you want to repair that?
Don't take this from me. Don't. Yeah, and even that, it's like fix what, man? I know what I'm doing. You don't need to fix shit, dude. Just like
I'm unfortunate. I'm just calling for the truth. My latest thing, I've been calling for data transparency for a while, but I finally I talked with Brian Hooker, who had exposed a lot of the autism CDC data. And Brian has been in this database called the Vaccine Safety Data Link. It's funded by the government to look at vaccine safety. But what's weird is that access is restricted. Tommy, access is restricted to this database. And Brian said that when he started getting close, they revoked his access.
Oh, really?
Now, wait a minute. If the vaccines are perfectly safe and effective, why would they revoke Brian Hooker's access to the data? I can't figure that out.
Raggy. Yeah. It's and wasn't it leaked recently relative out in the last 30 days or so that there was some, I mean, I guess we all suspected it, but there's actually a government program tracking those. There's a severity spectrum on vaccine hesitancy, including like militantly opposed and spreading misinformation all the way down to they just didn't want it. Have you heard anything about that? Because I haven't been able to find any data.
No, I'm trying to get my name on a government list so I can, that's kind of a badge of honor. Like I haven't, I got on that list for the organization that did the disinformation dozen list, and that, that was held up by the Surgeon General Vivek Murtry. He's holding up the list of the disinformation dozen, which has 13 people on it, so he can't count. But I'm trying to get on the list. I'm like, and I'm waiting for my name to drop in a Twitter file, a message saying, "Oh, we got, you got to get this Steve Kirsch guy off." I feel like I'm not doing my job.
I think you
Tommy.
could. I think you could do a little better.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not being effective if I'm not part of these secret conversations.
I don't think
It
you're
just
being,
makes me feel,
I don't think you're being
like,
safe or effective.
yeah. So,
It's, I think you will. Getting on this podcast definitely is going to expedite you.
oh,
I've made sure
good.
to cover all the bases, not just with medical information, but I have on bioweapons engineers. I make sure to have on, CIA, former mercenaries. I try to get people that are near nuclear reactors and nuclear core assembly. I try to get all of the red flags so that if I miss one, there's a dossier somewhere, and I am proud of that. And I hope to be in a Twitter file.
Yeah.
I hope to see some like Bitcoin transactions about, taking me out. That would be a real honor. But it
Wow.
is, yeah, no, that would be great. That'd be the greatest thing ever. I don't care if finally good at something.
Yeah.
But as Dr. McCullough called me and said that he's going to be a couple minutes late because of a traffic jam, he told me to ask you about the CMS data because he said that's something you're very well versed on, and he said an update would be
Yeah.
what we're
Well,
going.
there is a reason that, oh, and that reminds me, I should add add the Medicare data to public. Okay. So, yeah, so I have a friend who works for Medicare, and I've been getting these data dumps of stuff that's of interest. And one of the things of interest is days died after shot number one, when the shot number one was given in week 1 versus week 2 versus week 3, week 4, week 5. Now, if the shots really work and they're effective, the curves should be exactly the same. They should be just shifted versions of each other, right? Yeah, just time shifted by a week. It's like, the little those movie things where they used to have these snapshots where you could thumb through it, right?
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
would
yeah.
do a little motion picture. It should be just the curve shifts. It doesn't change shape. It just shifts, because now those people that got the shot are experiencing what the other people are, which is basically background effects. So if there was a big catastrophe and a lot of people died, that would be reflected. And what we're finding is that these things are not curve shifts. These things, the slope changes from one way. So at the beginning, it slopes this way, which means it's a negative slope. And by the end, or by like 6 weeks into it, it's got a positive slope. That's not supposed to happen. The slope is supposed to be flat, because we know what the underlying data is. And so you can't have different number of deaths in 2021 and 2022 if you took the shot, because the background data is flat. The background data shows equal number of deaths in 2021 and 2022 for the flat line, sort of in between in between COVID outbreaks, and in between the seasonal, there are these seasonal high when people tend to die because they spend more time indoors, get sick, and die. But there's this plateau. This is a flat area, and it runs for like 26 weeks, right in the middle of the year. And that flat area is just as high in 2021 as 2022. So that means a vaccine should go kind of like a mustache, right? Yeah. It goes, it goes down, it goes up in December, and then goes down on the other side, right? And this mustache is like tilted one way if you got it in early, and then if you got a batch of the shots later on, it tilts the other way. Here's like, no, this vaccine is affecting the death rate. There is no way to explain that, because I looked at the flu vaccine, just to test. The flu vaccine is shifted versions of itself. It's just time shifted. Duplicated. Exactly what you'd expect. But that COVID vaccine in the same, I have to look at it in the same time period I was looking at the flu vaccine, because the flu is given annually, and there were fewer shots. So I looked at it earlier. But that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It has to be time shifted, right? It's the same. You're basically just looking at background data, because the shot makes no difference. So the background data can't change. It's just your viewpoint into the background data. It shouldn't change based on your observation point. But when your observation point is that you got a vax, it changes. That is a little hard for them to explain.
It's very hard to explain. So
Yeah.
it's become undeniable at this point, right?
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
the total number of deaths. I had a Deb Conrad a couple weeks ago who was a whistleblower at VAERS because her hospital told her to stop filling these things out, which is itself a felony. With Ed Dowd's data, I mean, we're looking at an absurd increase in deaths. At a certain point, we do have to step back a little more. And granted, speculate, don't have hard numbers. It's not like we're not the NSA. I don't have transcripts of every conversation in the world. What was this really? Is this corporate greed? Which I don't put it past it. I think there's no limit.
Yeah, people are taking advantage of a situation.
You don't think it's an intentional kill off as many as you can?
No.
I think they could have done it more effectively if they wanted to.
Oh yes, if they wanted to kill people off, they could have done it much more effectively.
That's my thoughts.
And because the best way to do it is just to have an unsafe vaccine. It kills a ton of people like a month after they get the shot. The killing is done, and they say, "Oh my gosh,
what happened?
Contaminated batch."
Yeah.
White
supremacists.
We're not to blame, right? but that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it this way. So I think the easiest way to think about this is I was talking to a friend of mine who went to MIT with me, very smart guy, and super technical. And I said, "Hey, by the way, do you know I'm anti-vaccine?" He said, "Yeah, I know. I've gotten all my vaccines. I got all the main shots and the boosters, and I listened to my doctor, and I don't want to talk about it." And that's pretty much sums up the way a lot of people feel, which is, hey, if you can't trust your doctor, who can you trust? I'm not going to trust you. I'm going to trust my doctor. My doctor knows what's good for me, and you don't. And my doctor knows how to interpret the data, and you don't. And so I don't want to talk about it with you because my doctor has told me it's safe and effective, and anybody who's telling me otherwise is a whack job. Right.
I guess I get that on like a mental stability standpoint, right? There are certain things we just accept. The sun's going to rise, it's going to set, gravity works, money works, my car starts. There are certain things you accept where if you remove those fundamental pieces, the whole structure of your accepted reality breaks down. And I think that's maybe a Jenga block people don't even want to play with. Doctor knows best. Mom loves
Doctor
me.
knows best. The vaccines are safe and effective.
Christmas, and the government knows. It's just what it is.
The government is here to help.
Yeah. The government's here to help. Yeah.
And we can trust the media.
Yeah, and just get on the train cars because we're going to a relocation plan. Yeah, it's all going to be good. Yeah, you fucking moron.
Yeah, and I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, which by itself is just a synonym for critical thinking.
Even though I only became a conspiracy theorist after I got the shot. Isn't that weird?
It's very odd. Now,
let's I left a high-paying job in high tech to go taking a zero salary, and I'm not selling any products.
No, and you're being attacked left and right.
Yeah.
Where's the value in that? And so when you wind the clocks back just December 2020, why is it an accepted view or opinion to say I don't trust the Trump vaccine or I don't trust a rushed through vaccine? But 3 weeks later, this is science. Trust the science. That gives no one pause. Am I an idiot for expecting these people to be contemplative? Like, am I the idiot for trying to think that they're gonna come in battle in the arena of rationality?
Yeah, they don't go there.
Yeah,
they don't go there because their belief system says that there is no point in going there. You're just going to be, it'd be like getting into the equivalent here, Tommy, would be getting into a debate with you about whether the virus exists or not. Maybe not with you, but with Andy Kaufman.
Okay.
Right. It's kind of like you don't want to go there with Andy because he's going to throw all sorts of shit around and he's going to try to fool the audience into picking up his point of view when he's full of shit. And, it's like I tried to get some interest in people debating him. And then it was like he wanted some ground rules that would not make it. I mean, it should be a debate about science. It shouldn't be you have to show us this. And it's like, we basically agreed that I think one side that he would do a video summarizing his point of view, and then we would do another video basically summarizing our point of view, and that way we could give it some thought, and nobody's going to have any surprises, and we can go back and forth.
Okay.
And it was just not something that I followed up on. I'm not sure where it ended, but that's what we ended up there on that one. But yeah, it's kind of like I can see how people would say, hey, it's not worth my time. This is just going to go in circles. But, I ask questions to people like, well, how come you're not supporting transparency of the public data, like the vaccine safety data link? And, there's this guy on Twitter. His name is Copeland, Ian Copeland. And I've had a little, I've been able to DM him. And let's see, I'll just tell you the latest here. Let's see what's going on here. Where is the DMs here? Messages. Okay. All right. Where is he? Ian Copeland. Yeah, he doesn't reply.
Okay.
He says, hey, I tweeted this. Why doesn't Ian Copeland produce a slide deck answering the questions posed in my elephant deck? Should only take him a few minutes. And then I do a link to the thing. And then he asked me why I don't. He says, you're more than welcome to engage in my spaces so you can be debunked in real time. And I write him back, whenever I appear in your spaces, you throw ad hominem attacks at me instead of addressing the issues. And that's the problem. You either have people who don't want to engage with you, or when they do engage, they're engaging on the ad hominem level as opposed to the data level. And so I said, why don't you just respond to this tweet? Just give me some slides that respond to my deck. And he writes back, here, let me share it with you. Let me see if I can. Can I share my screen?
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Let me. Multiple. There you go.
All right. Let's see. All right. So you can see my. This is Ian Copeland, PhD. Steve, you are a weirdo. There is no point in talking to you. You have no evidence of vaccine. You're a grifter. Blah blah blah. Still embarrassed. I'm up. Okay. How I mopped the floor with you last time. Wow. Then you should stop mentioning me in your tweets if you're not willing to engage in conversation. First of all, I do what I please, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but he says, you are more than welcome to engage in my spaces so you can be debunked in real time. But then but before he said, I'm a weirdo, but he's inviting a weirdo. Okay, so last time, your privilege won't save you from the facts, okay? And so I tweet this out, why doesn't he answer my questions? And I answer his questions. This is the tweet that I'm responding to his thing, but I'm also saying, why don't you just respond to this tweet? Okay. I said, whenever I appear in your spaces, you throw ad hominem attacks. Steve, you are a joke. I mean, he's not like addressing the issues.
He's a child.
I would just want him to answer the questions. I said, no joke. Will you join me? This should say in calling for the VSD database to be made public. Yes or no? And then he, so I'm answering him 1 minute later, right? 341, 342. And as you can see, there's no response.
Well, Ian, you are more than welcome to come on this podcast and defend yourself.
Yeah, there you go. Ian, you have an opportunity now. You have a
standing invite, Ian, my good sir.
Standing invite. Podcast. Okay.
You can come on by yourself, or you can come on with Mr. Kirsch, or you can come on with anybody. You bring anybody. Shoot him down. Tell him why he's wrong. I have no vested interest. I'm here to find out the truth. I want to know the truth. I don't. Maybe you and I look at this vaccine data in a year. You call me, you go, Tommy, holy shit, this actually extends lifespan. And I go, well, fuck, and I'll go get a couple boosters. I don't care. I don't own Pfizer stock. I wish I did. I don't. I have there's no vested interest in this. The problem is when they say I don't want to waste my time with this. That's like when I get emails and people are like, Tommy, because I've had it on an Apollo astronaut. Tommy, the moon isn't real. And I go, I can't debate in this right now. I'm doing 10 podcasts a week. I don't have time for this. You don't have time for it. That okay, fine, sure. You have to
Well,
have time for it when the thing we're debating is a violation of bodily sovereignty, censorship from the internet, and losing your well-being and your ability to feed your family. It has to be debated. You can't say, I'm not going to take you up on this. Whether or not you believe the earth is flat has no bearing on your ability to be employed. It maybe does, but like it's not, there are no government mandates. It is not pressing down on your small business. It is not affecting your ability to travel internationally, to serve in the military,
right.
do anything. This is very
Or
real.
kill or killing 13 million people
Or that.
by our estimate.
Yeah.
Right. Because you look at the two sides. One side says uh, 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 this astronomer, Neil
Grass Tyson.
deGrasse Tyson. He says 10 million people have been saved by the vaccine. 10 million lives has been saved. And we say, 13 million people have lost their lives due to the vaccine. Now, I think one of us is telling the truth. I don't think that the truth is anywhere in between there. I think it's
There's
one or the other.
Yeah. That's
and it's possible it could be in between, but I think it's probably one side or the other. That's a pretty big gap, Tommy. That's a pretty big gap. And it's an important gap because it's not like, oh, I think it killed one person and I think it saved one person. I mean, that you could say, I don't have time to talk about it. It's not really important to me. But when you're talking about 13 million people on one side and 10 million people on the other side, man, that is something that we should talk about and we should get to the truth.
That's someone saying Germany's just fighting for living space and someone else saying there's a network of death camps. That's a pretty big, hey, man, we got to find out the truth somewhere in there. This isn't, I like red, I like orange. Well, it's somewhere in between. One of y'all is saying that we're a sovereign nation. The other says you're exterminating a race. You kind of got to flesh that one out.
You kind of can't have it both ways is the way I look at it.
Yeah. So with that 13 million number, I haven't heard that one. Could you maybe elaborate on that one a little bit?
Sure. There are 13 billion doses of the vaccine.
Jesus.
And Dennis Rancourt did a study showing that on average, we kill 1 per 1,000. So when you see billion, you turn it to million. And when you see million, you turn it to 1,000. So 13 billion doses worldwide turns into 13 million people dead worldwide. 650 million doses in America turns into 650,000 deaths in America. And so the math is really simple. You just change the units.
Yeah. Chop off 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Chop off 3. Exactly.
Holy shit. 13 million. That's 400. I always use this statistics. 425,000 Americans died in World War II. 425,000. So you're saying 650.
Yeah, more than the Americans died in World War II. Were killed by the U.S. government. Now, what's stunning though is the other contrast, which is if you have these eye drops that people were taking and they got contaminated and they killed a person. One person died. So they took the eye drops off the market because one person died. With these vaccines, 600,000 people have died. But what do? We mandated it.
How many of the flu vaccines were pulled off? And was it 1976? Was it like 25 people?
You're talking about the H1N1.
Yeah, sorry, I think I misworded that. How many people died before they pulled that vax?
It was a small number. It was like 40. I think it was like 40 something.
I think it was sub 30. Like,
yeah,
and they wiped that.
But it's in the tens.
Yeah. So again, this is where I come back to intent. And again, I'm with you. I don't think it was intentional. But I've interviewed Ken Albeck, who is the head of the biopreparat program in the Soviet Union. They're putting Ebola in nose cones of ICBMs. There's more effective ways to do this. I mean, if you just want to go full Machiavelli for a second, there's more effective ways to do this.
If you want to kill people, sure.
And the first thing you do is you don't make it a voluntary injection. You make it an airborne virus with like a 40-day dormancy. Let's just put on our Hitler hats here. There are ways to do this.
Yep.
But I also don't think it's just, I think a large portion of it, if not the majority of it, is profit. I think there's also a massive part of it that is control. I think they were hoping for, and again, my tinfoil hat, I think they're hoping for fully fleshed out and accepted vaccine passports. And that would then lead to what they want the central bank digital currencies to be, the way to track everyone, shut off misinformation spreaders, shut off hate speech spreaders. And it is just every tyrant's wet dream, right? To control movement and access to resources of people.
Yeah. And then the counter to that would be Bitcoin and crypto. And there's some technological advances that have to happen first.
For
that to happen. But there's no reason that can't happen. It's just a question of people investing to create the companies to make some key pieces of infrastructure that don't exist today. And once you do that, then you can ease the transition off of the fiat currencies.
Could you maybe expand on that?
I could, but not right now.
All right. I see that.
But suffice it to say, there's some like, see, Bitcoin. I always used to write off Bitcoin saying, there's no inherent value here. You can't use it as legal tender anywhere. But the inherent value of Bitcoin is, when you look at what happened with FTX, the inherent value of Bitcoin is as a source of value. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as everybody values it the same way. And so Bitcoin is a little bit like the digital version of gold. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to have a stable coin backed by gold, because that will tie up huge amounts of gold, right? If it's 100% backed, it will tie up huge gold resources. You don't want to tie it to silver. You don't want to tie it to titanium. You don't want to tie it to any resource that's physical, because that is counterproductive. So Bitcoin ends up being the de facto most likely version of digital gold, and it's not physical, right? So you don't have any storage cost, which is great, and it can't be tampered with. And you can't, like with gold repositories, like there's Pax Gold, where they back it with I think it's a troy ounce of gold. Well, the problem with that is somebody breaks into their vault and steals all their gold, and you're left holding the bag. But see, nobody can break into the Bitcoin vault. But it's not quite true, right? Because there can be 51% attacks on the Bitcoin blockchain. And that's happened before. It's an embarrassing situation. But even with proof of stake, people can assemble huge stakes and basically mess with the blockchain when they do that. So it's not quite what it's supposed to be, distributed trust, where nothing can go wrong, but these systems can still be gamed, and that creates a problem. So you have a problem in terms of the underlying, and this is true for Bitcoin as well. They need to overcome the 51% attack hole, which has been in existence forever. And they also, when you wrap a coin, the problem with wrapping a coin is that the person who's doing the wrapping could be compromised. What happens if the private key for the wrapper is compromised somehow, right? You have the private key for RSA that was compromised. So why is it not possible for the private key for the wrapper to be compromised? In which case you're holding total junk. And so that's another problem. And then, of course, the third one is just the speed of transactions. You want the transactions to go instantly. And all of these issues can be overcome in a very clever way. In fact, a way that uses virtually no energy at all, and it doesn't, and that can't be gamed. And so the community hasn't quite figured that out yet, but there are ways to do this.
It sounds like you have, and it sounds like you could.
I think I have a way that's. I'm going to be running it by a few friends of mine.
If anyone else said this, I'd be like, "All right, you're full of shit." But you're a very you're a very shrewd businessman and inventor.
It's not obvious. It's not obvious how to do these, but
of course.
And by the way, you can't do it 100%, but you can get very close to 100% through these techniques. Very close. And if you're willing to make the investment, right? So if you're willing to make $1 million investments here, multi-million dollar investments, then you can construct something which is basically virtually unbreakable. It'll be like, it would be easier to break into Fort Knox than it would be. That's the goal,
Gotcha.
right? Is simply make it more attractive to break into Fort Knox than it is to try to steal people's money or to steal the rapper's money or what have you.
Gotcha. And I look forward to seeing that. But yeah, with the gold problem, wasn't there a company like not that long ago where you could buy certificates of gold and then it turned out that they were like double issuing and triple issuing, and it's like we're right back to fiat. Like
Oh,
it's the whole
wow.
point of gold is that you can hold it. People are like, no, it's a
Yeah.
certificate. It's backed by an ounce. And I'm like, that's truly how like the dollar started. Like,
Yeah. Sounds like the producers.
yeah, it goes
Uh,
right back to, and everyone's so surprised when they were like double and triple issuing. It's like, yeah, how do you think we got to this point? Do you think that do you think with something like, I don't know, something topical about the indictment of Trump or pushing for more and more war, are they trying to play whack? And this is again speculation. Do you think they're trying to play some sort of distraction whack-a-mole because they
no,
know the vaccine injury?
no,
No.
no, no. They basically think that people like me are just misinformation spreaders, and by continuing to censor us, they will eventually win and convince the public that we're right. But the problem is that they're losing. There aren't any prominent people. Like, I don't think you can name a prominent person who has gone from being anti-vax to being pro-vax.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a one-way conversion street.
It's a one-way conversion. And that tells you everything you need to know. So I don't think, so they know they have a problem, but I don't think they're constructing these other incidents to be like the magician, to say, hey, look over here, while I do this, while I kill people with the vaccine. It's like the analogy would be autism. Autism has been going on for decades, and they're not constructing these scenarios to distract people from autism.
Okay.
I'm not buying it. I think these are, look, it was Trump who reportedly made the hush money payments.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like this was constructed out of thin air.
Good point.
Right.
No, there's something there.
And the grand jury voted to indict him. And the grand jury is made up of, I think it's 24 people from the American public who are charged with, do you believe there's enough evidence here? And it's a simple majority vote. It's not like it's a criminal decision. It's just an indictment. And so you need the civil standard of proof, which is majority to indict. So a majority of Americans, when presented with the evidence, which I don't think we've seen that yet. Have they released the evidence? I haven't been tracking it.
They showed the indictment yesterday, I think.
Right.
It was like the same charge 34 times, I think. I don't know anything about, I'm a biology major, so I don't know anything about this, but I've heard it. Some people say it's double jeopardy, and some said that there was no actual evidence. They were charges, but there's no proof of guilt. So it kind of seems just,
yeah, but the grand jury just has to have a reasonable suspicion that he could, because they're not determining whether he did the crime. They're just determining whether there's a likelihood that a crime was committed.
So to the vaccine injury, let's be a little self-critical. Are we pursuing a fool's errand by trying to convince these people? Or is it like you said earlier, I trust my doctor, I don't trust you, I'm not at a certain point, do we just have to be like, I'm trying to teach a dog calculus? Like, what? I'm the idiot. It's not the dog. I'm the idiot for trying to do this. Is there something there? Like, why do I keep interviewing? Why do I keep doing these things? Whoever's going to believe it is going to believe it. Whoever isn't is not. And that's just kind of it.
So the answer to that is that we are convincing more and more people every day, right? You have Asim Malhotra, for example, big time cardiologist. He's like, for those people who are not familiar with him, he's like CNN's Sanjay Gupta.
Okay.
For the UK. And so he was going around telling people get vaccinated, get vaccinated. Vaccines are safe and effective. And then his dad dies, and he looks into the data and he says, "What the fuck?" And and he spends 6 months looking at the data, and then comes out as like, we're killing people with these vaccines. And so those things, when people like that shift over, that's happening more and more. John Campbell started off saying vaccines are safe, everybody should get
YouTube nurse,
right. Yeah. And now he's like, man, this thing's a disaster, but I can't say that on YouTube, or otherwise they'll deplatform me.
That's my only criticism. I like him. He seems like a very intelligent, well-meaning guy, but
yeah,
people in the comments are like,
yeah, he wants to maintain his audience, which is good.
Yeah,
he doesn't want YouTube to cancel him, so he has to be very careful.
Maybe
when he talks about this stuff.
I'm a little hard-headed, and part of me is like, no, go.
Yeah,
full,
but you see, Tommy, you're not on YouTube.
No, I'm not. I know. And I'm banned from YouTube for that reason. I'm like,
can't figure it out. Yeah,
maybe I'm the idiot. Yeah, no, I'm more of I'm like, go full jihad, don't give him an inch. And he is playing a much more eloquent game of subtly kind of pushing people and winning hearts and minds, whereas I'm kind of two middle fingers flamethrower.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. I'm not pulling any punches here.
I don't have the ability for a delicate touch. It's not that I choose not to. I don't think I have the ability. I don't know if it's just like the Irish kind of insanity in my blood, but I can't do it. It's also, it just seems outright evil. I can't really play along with that dance. And I don't know, I kind of look at it as like a bigger picture, like a war of attrition. And I'm like, just get banned. Red pill people, go to the next platform. It sucks. Got to rebuild. But, maybe it takes all kinds. I'm not sure. But there's no way to put a cap on it. It's going to keep. Eventually, there's going to be something that can't be hidden, right? Eventually, if we're talking about 650,000 deaths, there's going to be some. There's going to be some proxy marker that no one's thinking. Like new phones or licenses.
They can. The thing is, they can hide this. They've had experience in hiding this for decades. Look at vaccine and autism. Very clear link.
Sorry, McCullough. I'm sending him the link right now. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, you see what he's on his way up finally.
Yeah, he's gonna hop in. Yeah, so rude.
Finally,
leaving us hanging, leaving us. He's probably watching live right now, and he's like, "These assholes."
Well, I got my swearing out of the way.
I got most.
But there's no reason the only reason for hiding the VSD data from the public is if it's bad.
Yeah.
If it's good, they'd be wanting to show everybody.
PR coup.
It's so obvious. You don't have to be a genius here. You don't have to be able to read a paper. You don't have to be able to calculate a p-value. You don't have to be able to analyze anything. Just the fact that these guys who have the source level data, it's like the source code. If you're a computer programmer, this is the source code. You're not looking at it from a window of what does the GUI allow me to do? You want to see the source code. And VSD is source level data. And if the vaccines are saving people, the VSD data is going to show that. If the vaccines are killing people, the VSD data will show that too. Now, there's a reason they're hiding these records from us.
Yeah. And you could even argue if it was just neutral. If the data showed that it was just saline,
they would produce it. They produce it, and then they'd say
just to shut us up.
Yeah, look, it looks like but it looks like we were wrong. It's actually not doing anything.
Yeah,
right. We should be talking about the truth here. This is America. Why can't Americans learn the truth? Because I always say there is not a paper in the peer-reviewed medical literature that says hiding data from the public leads to better clinical outcomes. Now, we could ask Peter about that, because if there was a paper
he would have it
about that, Peter would know about it, and he's connecting right now. So, Peter, we were just talking about you. Okay,
so
now he's on.
What Dr. McCullough, what's that? Do you have a studio now? What is that, green screen?
No, that's a virtual screen.
Okay, now I'm an idiot again. Damn it. Excuse me. Dr. McCullough, can you hear us?
No, well, he may be able to hear us. We can't hear him.
I gave up on you. I was going to go out real quick and take the dog for a walk.
Oh, I saw your text. Said send the link. I'm an idiot. It was Dr.
So I was
Kirsch
getting ready to go out, but at any rate, I'm sure you covered all the key things with Steve.
We've gone down a couple rabbit holes.
Peter, two critical things. Have there been any papers in the peer-reviewed scientific literature that says that by keeping the health records from public view that we improve clinical outcomes?
No.
Okay. Second question. Is there any reason at all the government shouldn't make that VSD database public?
No. All databases should be public. They all, now, in the analysis, we have to ensure confidentiality and anonymity, but that's part of standard research anyway. People's individual information isn't disclosed. It's always analyzed that way. But we've worked with the National Death Index, the SEER Registry in Cancer, all the National Center for Health Statistics. These are frequently used, and no country in the world, Steve, has merged the vaccine administration data and the mortality data. In Scandinavian countries, they have meticulous data sources.
Yeah, that's interesting. No country in the world has merged them. But I mean, I knew they hadn't published them, but I didn't realize that no country has merged them. That's spectacular. Is there any reason the NDI can't be made public?
No, I mean, you simply, make an application. The NDI asks you what identifiers that you have. I think there's like a constellation of 7, and then one applies for it. And data merges are done all the time with the NDI.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is the CDC should just publish the NDI data, hook, line, and sinker, the whole damn thing.
Well, they charge for it. It's actually a money-making operation.
I know they do, Peter, but think about it the other way, that let's make it public. Let's make it freely available to the public. Anyone who wants to download this data can download. Any reason that we can't make the NDI data public?
It's just their financial model. It should be made public. Sure, I'm all for public data, but they've had a financial model for years. But it's a more than a financial model, Peter, because you don't get data just because you pay the money. You get the data if they approve your research study. It's the same thing with VSD. And when you start getting close, and when you start to see a signal, they for some reason they cut off your access. So Peter, if the vaccines are safe and effective and are saving people's lives, why would they cut off people's access? Yeah, they're not. And Steve, whatever's going on is going on worldwide, not a single country. There's 39 countries that have vaccine safety databases, 39. And, the 4 big ones people know about, including VAERS. But no country has done a merge between all-cause mortality and vaccine data administration. So whatever's going on in the United States is going on worldwide, dozens of countries.
Now, isn't that a little strange, Peter, that no country has done a merge between the mortality and the vaccination? I mean, how is that possible that nobody wants to know that? It's
true. Nobody really does want to know, Steve. And quickly, most of the countries that have these data sets, there was what I call majority vaccinated countries, where the majority of people took vaccines, the majority of people in leadership roles. It's been my consistent view, Steve, that the people who have taken the vaccines outside of you and just a few number of individuals, most actually are willfully blind. They actually don't want to know the answer.
That's not what science is supposed to be about.
Dr. McCullough, could you define what that is, merging of the two?
Well, it's just that there are sources of data, and the rules are we can't disclose people's individual lines of data. So each data set will have basically an ID number, and then the ID number is separately linked to identifiers without any clinical data, and those are called linker files. And then we simply use those 3 files to match up the 2 data sources. And then when it's all matched, we don't have any anything that could identify a person. And as long as those methods are guaranteed, statisticians do this every day with sources of data in the United States. And keep in mind, it's not just research. Actuaries, life insurance, credit cards, all different sources of data. People's 401k funds, they have identifier after identifier after identifier, and they're used all the time. But as we're reporting on this show, Tommy, that there's an intentional impediment to linking all-cause mortality to vaccine administration.
So, Peter, do you know about the BEST database, BEST?
No.
Wow. Yeah, it's really hard to find. There's a database called BEST, BEST. It's the best database, and they say it's the best database. But it's interesting how, if you haven't heard of it, I mean, I'm amazed that they've concealed this. Like, you can't even do a Google. If you do a Google search for the best database, it's like you can't even find a reference to it. It's that well hidden.
Yeah, it must be that good. But let me say that, two areas of great concern are cardiovascular disease and cancer, which together account for 80% of all deaths in the United States. And it's typically 40-40 split on that. It's about half each. Is almost always known ahead of time. There's antecedent information, known heart disease, known cancer, and then a patient progresses towards death. Very rare that it would be unknown where there's no antecedent disease. There we have databases. There are cancer databases, National Cancer Institute, the SEER Registry. In cardiology, we have National Center for Health Statistics. It's so well refined, Steve, that the American Heart Association puts out an AHA Heart and Stroke Fact Book each year, linking all the information. So we know the cases of heart failure, the admissions for heart attacks, mortality. It's well defined. The cancer data are the same. This is just now a new exposure. This is just a new variable that we would stratify on.
Yeah, no, it'd be amazing if we could get the VSD, BEST, Medicare, and NDI databases all to be made public. Boy, that would change a lot of stuff.
It's true. We have to push for data. That's what researchers do. Those in the quantitative sciences. And in the meanwhile, there's a new discipline developing, Steve, and it's the discipline of misinformation or disinformation. And universities now are holding conferences on this. Today, USA Today, it just popped up that USA Today announced that vaccination is safe in pregnant women, and that in a sense they are.
What a relief!
Yeah, well, the idea is now all of these have to be held up as examples of misinformation or disinformation. Is coming from a variety of sources. Without any long-term assurances from any source that this could be safe in pregnancy. Obviously, USA Today is on the side of promoting false information. But now this is, this is the big topic. There is, in a sense, a war of information. Even the WHO they call it an infodemic. So even if we don't have viruses, we're going to be battling over sources of information.
Yep.
Well, let me just give a brief update in the time we have left. Tommy wanted to know about nattokinase and some of the other proteases. The spike protein, we're learning, is in the body for a very, very long time. Bruce Patterson, in his initial paper after the infection, found the S1 segment in CD16 monocytes up to 15 months after the infection. And that was in sick patients in the hospital. The body is trying to break down the spike protein, digest other parts of the virus. So, the body was handling that. Now Patterson has information in vaccinated S1 and S2 segments together, found inside monocytes out to 245 days, about 9 months. And that's as long as he's looked. Data from Castriota and Ogata, respectively, show spike protein, show messenger RNA and spike protein circulatory for 30 days. And that's as long as they've looked. And Rolkin and colleagues, messenger RNA in lymph nodes out to 2 months. We've learned that the replacement of uracil for pseudouridine in the messenger RNA makes it completely synthetic and resistant to ribonucleases. So we have a situation where the genetic material is long-lasting, spike protein production appears to be, underway and lasting for a long period of time and accumulating every 6-month shots, and then intervene in COVID means accumulation of spike protein. 3 supportive papers, one, I think, high-quality preclinical paper by Tanakawa and colleagues, show that nattokinase, an enzymatic product of the fermentation of soy, does attack proteolytic cleavage joints in the spike protein and effectively dissolves it in cell lysate models and other models. It was very convincing. Additionally, there is a serine protease that can be harvested from river worms in Japan that efficiently breaks down spike protein as well. That so far, it looks like it could be available as an intravenous formulation. So we have no human data, but this looks enormously promising. Nattokinase in particular, since it's already used as a supplement by the Japanese for a couple of decades now, is anti-atherosclerotic. It is thrombolytic, so the caveats are bleeding. It's derived from soy, so soy allergies are a caveat. We'd hope that Big Pharma would pick this up in development, but a development time from stage 1 all the way to large stage 3 clinical trials with hard outcomes could be 20 years. And many think it's just too long. They have to take action now. So right now, nattokinase, I think, is in the top position as a therapy for these post-vaccine and post-COVID syndromes. Symptomatically, we're using fluvoxamine widely for some of the neuropsychiatric manifestations, colchicine for the pleural pericardial manifestations, and prednisone with this myocarditis, treatment of drugs for heart failure. And then, conventional blood thinners for the blood clots that we're seeing that appear to be highly resistant to our use of blood thinners. So, uncomfortably, we're moving the needle towards using aspirin, nattokinase, and oral anticoagulants like apixaban all together in the same patient. The blood clots, Steve, are ranging in a paper by Wu and colleagues from the FDA from the ankle to the groin in human beings, not in post-mortem cases, in human beings, reported by the FDA, 11% of cases fatal.
These are live human beings.
These are live human beings. Now, in the Wu report, it came from Silver Spring, Maryland, so it came from the FDA. It was exclusively reported in Johnson & Johnson recipients. We know of all vaccine recipients in the United States, 94% took a messenger RNA, 6% took something other. That means small fractions for Johnson & Johnson and Novavax.
And these clots, nobody's seen these things before these vaccines rolled out. I mean, there's no possibility to be coming from COVID or anything else.
Well, COVID itself triggers thrombosis. That's well described in the original.
Right, but not to this extent.
Right. We believe it's the DT and colleagues in Lancet published a theory several months back called the spike protein superantigen theory, that we're being exposed to so much spike protein through the infection and through the vaccines now, that this triggering thrombosis. In my clinical experiences, the worst cases are people who have taken the vaccine and have had COVID. I had a patient this week, massive blood clots, shot to his lungs. He's got a huge burden in his legs. We had to put an inferior vena cava filter, so a cage to try to catch additional clots. He's having difficulty breathing on max dose blood thinners, and can't work now. He's disabled. But his
doctor probably tells him that he should get the latest booster.
Well, you're bringing up another important point, is that people have lost faith in their doctors. Any doctor out there now who's suggesting more vaccines, the patients are turning to other sources of information. And I think more and more doctors quietly are backing down on this. But the attacks still occur out there. There still are promoters of the vaccine. Today it's USA Today pushing vaccines in pregnant women. We'll have to take a careful look at that. But these are some of the big announcements, and I think in a lot of our circles, saw my Substack just a few minutes ago. Robert F. Kennedy has announced running for president.
Yeah. So what about the Swiss study? I saw Vinay Prasad did a deep dive into the Swiss study, and he did a YouTube video on it, and he showed a chart which wouldn't normally be available. And he was showing that everybody who took the vaccine got a little myocarditis. Some people got more than others, but he said, look, this curve shifts, over to the right. And he says that means that everybody is getting a little myocarditis, some people more than others, but everyone's being affected by that. Would you agree with that assessment?
No, as a cardiologist, our principal tool we use is troponin. And in the Lepesic study, senior author Christian Mueller, 777 healthcare workers on shot number 3, majority of them were women, shot number 3 had high sensitivity troponin measured before and after. Prasad's correct that the cumulative frequency distribution shifts. I mean, everybody's troponin goes up a little bit, but roughly 2.7% actually exceeded a threshold by which we're more convinced that there's actually ongoing injury. The troponin
right, but it shouldn't have. The troponin shouldn't have shifted at all. I mean, it should. If anything, it should be random, right? That their troponins measure at one point, but there was a clear shift.
No, well, high sensitivity troponin by its definition means that half of normal subjects at any given time are above the upper limit of normal.
Right, but it should be random. It shouldn't be shifted. The curve should be just randomly distributed. It shouldn't be shifted.
Well, remember, myocarditis is going to be more than a troponin elevation. It's going to be other clinical features that Lepesic didn't have.
Right. I'm not talking about myocarditis. I'm just talking about the fact that the troponins were shifted to the right for everybody. That isn't normal, right? That shouldn't happen. If I gave you a saline shot, it's not going to shift everybody's troponins.
Well, I can tell you it hasn't been measured in other vaccines, but high sensitivity troponins are so sensitive. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a rise with other, any type of pyrogenic stimulus.
So interesting. So so it'd be interesting to go and do that study.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to release cardiac troponin. Cardiac troponin is the ball on actin is on the inner part of a myofibril. Myosin is on the outside. The ball is troponin. Is constantly lifting up and shifting, lifting down. And then, any type of stress on the heart, the ball can fly off. It goes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Cool.
And it's measurable.
Interesting.
We're going to have to wrap it up here, but those are my updates. No merges on the safety data. I'm sure Steve has given an exhaustive review. Nattokinase looks promising as a spike dissolution approach. No clinical data. Can't make any therapeutic claims. And Robert F. Kennedy of the Children's Health Defense has just announced he's running for president.
Oh,
interestingly, 25% of the nation, according to the COVID Community States program, did not take the vaccine. 25% of adults, and most of them did not take it because they made a conscious choice. That may be an important voter block. That 25% may be people like me and others that didn't take it. And there may be a lot more like Steve who took it and now, are activated, understand something's wrong. So that may be an important voter block to contend with. So,
well, and I hope that he chooses me for his vice president pick, but I'm not too hopeful, mostly because of this podcast and the things I've said on air. But
you would be ideal for the press secretary, Tommy. We'll have to see.
I could be up there.
I think Steve's going to be like a Department of Commerce or Secretary of State or something. We'll have to see how this.
He's going to run CIA Black Ops. Steve's got budgets. Steve's going to run NSA. He wants all the data. That's what Steve wants. He's Pac-Man for all the data. But gentlemen, Mr. Steve Kirsch, Dr. Peter McCullough, thank you so much for your time, for your brilliant insight. Guys, in the description, you can find their Twitters, their Substacks, their websites. You can find Dr. McCullough's book in there. I highly encourage all of them. And Yet again, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. I know the people that watch this greatly appreciate y'all's insights. And even if even if you just see views, those are all individual people that genuinely appreciate what you guys say. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Tommy. Be good. Bye.
All right. See ya.
Steve.
Much love.